Okay. Good morning. Bandit. Yes, sir. So I was telling you that we are discussing about the compound stresses in yesterday's class, and what we have gone through is what is the state of stress at a point. So it is just the resultant of all the stresses. Are you able to hear me? Yes. Hello. Are you able to hear me so that I can continue further? There is
Yes, sir.
some.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Fine. So this state of stress at a point, it is normally the resultant of all the stresses acting on different planes passing through the point. Okay, so we can have infinite number of planes passing through any point in a body. Okay, so when you take one plane, there will be stresses acting on that plane, the normal stress as well as the shear stress. Okay, will be present on that plane. So we can have infinite number of such planes. So the resultant at any point of all these stresses what are required, so that is what we call the state of stress at a point. So after that we have seen how we are going to calculate or analyze the state of stress at a point. Okay, so for that we will be considering a small element within that body. Okay, so what is shown over here. So, and then we'll pass a plane with the required inclination into that this one element. So I want to know what are the stresses acting on this inclined plane BC over here. Okay, so I'm interested in knowing the stresses. Why we are going to do this is there may be planes which have maximum stresses other than the plane which is perpendicular to our application of load. Okay, so in case of direct tension or compression, we used to just write the stress calculation of stress was sigma. So that was expressed as P by A. Okay, so what area we used to consider was it was an area which was perpendicular to the axis of the loading. So with respect to that axis, we had taken that area and we have expressed stress over here P by A. So this area may not be the area on which maximum stresses may be developed. It may not be the weakest area over there. So we need to identify which plane is carrying maximum stresses, okay, and its orientation over here. So that is what is required here for us. So we are going to analyze for that. So here, these are the three basic steps what you will be coming across in this analysis. One is you will be choosing the element and you will be representing the stresses on that element. Okay, so these are the stresses what may be present on an element in general. Okay, so normal stresses, these sigma y and sigma x, they are representing the normal stresses, these two stresses. Whereas tau xy and tau yx, okay, normally these two will be equal to xy and to yx, so they are representing the sharing stresses on this element. Okay, now after this, after representing the state of stress on this element, we'll pass the plane through this element with required inclination over here. So this is the inclination theta, it is represented with respect to the vertical. So this is the plane BC, the plane BC is there, it is cutting this element over here. So we'll pass that plane and we'll consider one part of this element. Okay, this ABC portion has been considered here. Then what we find is within this, on this plane BC, we'll have the stresses being developed over there. Okay, so this plane is no more normal to our load application. So it is oriented at some arbitrary angle. Okay, so we are going to find out what are the normal stress and shear stress on this plane BC. So I'm interested in this normal stresses on the plane BC. Okay, which is stresses which are perpendicular to this plane and stresses which are tangential to this plane. So this is shown over here. F and T or 2 and T are the stresses parallel to this plane BC, and sigma is n is the stress normal to this plane BC. So we are trying to identify or find out what are these stresses. Okay, so we'll proceed with this. So this is what the basic step involves is, right? So with that, now first thing is we need to know certain sign convention in this case before we go ahead. Okay, so we'll adopt this sign convention here. What are the sign convention I have shown here? So tensile stresses are considered to be positive. Normal stresses which are tensile in nature, they are taken as positive here. Okay, and if they are compression, okay, they will be taken to be negative. The signs what we are adopting is tension positive. Okay, normal stresses tension, if they are in tension positive, if they are in compression then it is negative, the sign convention will be negative. Okay, for sharing stresses this is the sign convention. So here what is shown is left side downward force, right side upward force, it is positive. Okay, left side downward force, right side upward force is positive. Okay, these are complementary shear stress. Okay, so you can easily draw this direction of complementary shear stress. So it will be opposing, it will be meeting this stress direction over here. Okay, so this is upwards, so this complementary stress will be moving towards this side. Okay, so these two will intersect at this point. That is how you will be drawing the complementary sharing stresses. Okay, so that is how we draw that complementary sharing stresses. But for sign convention, to come up with the sign convention, what is considered right side upward shear force, okay, and left side downward shear force. Okay, so that will be positive. 14, don't do anything on the screen. Okay, so this is, I hope is clear. Normal stresses if they are tension positive, compression negative. Sharing stresses, left side upward force and left side downward force, right side upward force will be considered as positive. Left side upward force and right side downward force, the direction of sharing stresses, if they are like this then it is taken to be negative. Okay, so these are the sign convention what will be used over here while analyzing the state of stress in an element. Okay, so keeping these sign conventions in mind, now further we'll go ahead. So first case what we'll take up is a state of uniaxial stress. Okay, state of uniaxial stress system. So it means something like this. It is a single stress which will be acting on our element. In case of a direct tension, you will come across such state of uniaxial stress over here. So this is a bar which is subjected to axial stresses. I have considered tension, axial tension. Okay, this is a uniaxial stress. It is only along one axis, uniaxial. Okay, this is a state of stress. What is there? Okay, so this is a bar which is subjected to tensile stresses. There will be force. I just shown what are the stresses which are developing in the bar. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to consider a infinitely small element within this bar, this element. Okay, so I've taken out this element over here. Okay, that infinitely small element is taken out over here. And in this, I want to know what is the state of stress on a plane BC, which is inclined at an angle theta with the vertical. So I'm interested in knowing what is the stresses, what are the stresses on this inclined plane. So that is what I am interested over here. Okay, now the width of this element is 1 unit. Okay, so the width what we are going to deal with here, the dimension perpendicular to our screen is of 1 unit here. Okay, now what we are going to do is the state of stress is shown here. First step, sigma x, that is the only stress. Okay, so it is uniaxial stress in one direction only, along one axis only. Other than this, there is no other stress which is subjected to this element. Okay, this element is not subjected to any sharing stresses over here. It is subjected only to uniaxial tension, right? So now I'll cut this element along this plane BC, and that has been shown over here. This element ABC is taken out from this here, one part of that element. Okay, On this face AB, we have sigma x applied over here. And on the plane BC, we want to find out what are these stresses. What stresses will be there is, one is the stress which is normal to the plane BC, and another stress will be tangential to the plane BC. Okay, so the stress which is normal to this plane BC or perpendicular to this plane BC is this sigma n. Okay, sigma n. And other stress which is tangential to this plane BC is tau nt. Okay, tau nt is the shearing stress which is tangential to plane BC. Okay, and sigma n is the normal stress which is perpendicular to this plane BC. So we want to know what are these two stresses. We are trying to find out these two stresses over here, right? For that, what we'll do is we'll consider the equilibrium conditions, okay, along the two directions. One is this n direction, okay. What is this n direction? It is a direction perpendicular to our plane BC here, okay. This is the n direction, normal direction. The other direction is this tangential direction. N and T, they are representing two axes, one which is normal to this plane BC, other which is tangential to this plane BC. Okay, so these are the two directions. So I have considered these two directions. Now I'll apply the condition of equilibrium for this element. Okay, so when you have any member under equilibrium, okay, this entire bar is under equilibrium, then each and every part of it has to be in equilibrium. Okay, so even if I take this small element out of this bar and study that, it has to be subjected to the condition that it is under static equilibrium, and the conditions of static equilibrium have to be satisfied by this element. And even this part ABC, this portion of that element should also satisfy the condition of static equilibrium. It should not be set in motion in any direction. So summation F has to be 0 in all the directions. Now when I consider two directions, that is normal direction and this tangential direction, and if I take the summation of forces along these two directions, it should come out to 0. Okay, this is the condition of equilibrium, what I'm evaluating over here. Okay, please tell me till this point, are you able to understand? I took one case. First is the sign convention we have seen. Okay, what are the sign convention? Is there any difficulty in this sign convention part? Normal stresses, if they are in tension, we'll consider them positive. If they are in compression, it is considered negative. Shearing stresses, how we are going to assign the sign? Left side downward shear stress, right side upward shear stress is positive. For that, we'll assign a positive sign. Whereas left side upward shear force and right side downward shear force, if it is in this way, then we'll assign a negative sign for that shear force. Okay, is that clear? Sign convention. So after this sign convention, then what we are taking is the first case. We are going to study the first case. Okay, I'm trying to find out what is the stress on an inclined plane. Okay, for that purpose, the first case what is taken here is a uniaxial stress. Uniaxial stress. It may be uniaxial tension, uniaxial compression. Example is a, a bar subjected to pull. Okay, so that is an example. What is there is. So this is one body or a bar which is subjected to tensile stresses over here that has been taken, and within this bar we are isolating one small element from this bar. Okay, this small element has been isolated here. So what will happen on this element? There are normal stresses which are acting in x direction, sigma x and sigma x, both are tension. Okay, so now I'm interested to know what is the state of stress on an inclined plane BC. Okay, so this is an inclined plane BC, some at some arbitrary inclination theta. Okay, it is this plane. So on this plane, what stresses are acting? I want to know that. Normal stresses, it is very easy to determine, P by A. And what are the magnitude of stresses on this inclined plane? I want to know that one. Okay, so for that, what I'll do is first I have passed that inclined plane within this element. Then I have cut this element in two parts, and I have taken one part for my study over here. Okay, this part ABC has been taken. So on plane AB, the stress which was acting, it is represented as it is. But on plane BC, what we are trying to determine is what is the normal stress which is acting on this plane BC and what is the shear stress which is acting on this plane BC. We are going to determine that. Okay, so along this two directions, in the normal direction and in this tangential direction, we are going to consider the equilibrium conditions. Okay, summation Fn is equal to 0 and summation Ft should be equal to 0. Okay, so once I do that, so what we get, summation Fn is equal to 0. Here it is. So one is this sigma n. Okay, so sigma n into the area of this face. What is the area of this face? This length BC multiplied by 1 unit, because the width of this element or thickness of this element is 1 unit. So sigma n is the stress multiplied by area will give me the force. That is one force which is acting along this n direction. Sigma n into BC into 1, this area, stress into area. Okay, so that is what it is applied. So sigma stress. So normally we express it as what? Sigma n, sigma is equal to P by A. Again, the same basic relation, or P is equal to sigma into A, area. Okay, with this relation, this is written over here. Stress multiplied by the area of the face BC. Similarly, this is along n direction, so positive sign. What about this sigma x? What is the component of sigma x in the direction n? Okay, if you just extend the line of action of this force, so it is making an angle theta with respect to this n. Okay, so this force is acting in the x direction or parallel to the x direction. Okay, so it is making an angle theta. So sigma x into the area of this face AB, that is AB into 1 unit, sigma x into AB into 1 unit, into, you resolve it along this direction n, cos theta into cos theta. Okay, so these are the components of forces which are acting in n direction. Okay, so summation Fn you have taken, and we have considered all the forces which are acting in n direction and equated them to 0. So this will tell me what is the sigma n here. What is the normal stress on an arbitrary inclined plane? Sigma n comes out to be sigma x into AB by BC into cos theta. Okay, sigma x into AB by BC into cos theta. If I take all the terms on other side, right side, except sigma n, this is what I am going to get. From this triangle, what you have, AB by BC, it is nothing but, again, it comes out to be cos theta. From this triangle, if you consider the ratio AB upon BC, okay, adjacent by this hypotenuse, it is nothing but, again, it is cos theta. So what it comes out is sigma n is sigma x into cos square theta. Okay, so this is what we got. One normal stress on the inclined plane. We have found what is the normal stress on this inclined plane in terms of this applied stress. Sigma x is the applied stress over here. So sigma n is sigma x into cos square theta. Okay, similarly, if I want to know what is the shearing stress which is applied on this plane, what we have, so in that case, it will be, we will be considering the equilibrium condition along this t direction. This is t over here, what I have written. Okay, this is t, that is a tangential direction. Okay, so if you take sum of all the forces along that tangential direction, okay, and equate them to 0, what it turns out to be. So try doing that. So what are the forces which are acting along the tangential direction? One is this tau nt. We have tau nt here. So tau nt, it is acting on this face BC. Tau nt into BC into 1 unit. Width is 1 unit. So this is one force. Stress multiplied by area, it is giving me one force. Tau nt into this BC into 1. That is one force along t direction. It is acting along t direction. So positive sign. Another force is component of this sigma x. So sigma x will be having a component along this t direction. Okay, so sigma x into AB into 1 is the magnitude of the force, stress multiplied by area, sigma x into this AB into 1 unit thickness. Okay, so that is the force. What will be the component, okay, along this t direction? So this angle, again, if you just look at that, the line of action of this force, okay, what it has is, so it is making an angle theta here. This will be 90 minus theta. Okay, so it will be sigma x into AB into 1 into sine theta. Okay, so the component will come out to be sigma x into AB into 1 into sine theta. Okay, or else if I won't want to know what is this tau nt, I'll just rearrange this equation and it gives me sigma x into AB by BC into sine theta. Okay, what is this AB by BC? We have seen that AB by BC was nothing but cos theta in this triangle. Okay, adjacent upon this hypotenuse, so that was coming out is nothing but cos theta. This is the trigonometric relation what you have. So if I substitute this in this equation, what it turns out to be is sigma x into sine theta into cos theta. So can you simplify this one? Sine theta cos theta, what it is? Yes. So here I have written tau nt is sigma x by 2 into sine of 2 theta. Is that okay? This relation, will it hold good? Anybody agreeing with this one or all are disagreeing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we have found over here is we have taken one simple case of tension, a member subjected to tensile stresses, and we have determined what is the stress on any inclined plane. Okay. Theta may be anything, whatever your interest is there. Okay. You can evaluate this. So you can evaluate the stresses on any inclined plane over here. Okay, so this is how this compound stresses or the stresses on any arbitrary inclined plane are to be determined. Okay, steps, 3 steps: take the element, pass the plane, separate them, apply the conditions of equilibrium. Okay, along normal direction and along tangential direction. Please tell me if you have any difficulty or doubt in this, because next part will be the same step we will follow. What we'll have is there will be more number of stress components. Okay, if this step is clear to you, okay, what is done over here with one stress, okay, the same will be extended further. If you have any difficulty in this part, please tell me. Condition of equilibrium, how to be satisfied, so it has been applied over here. Okay, shall we move ahead? Okay, now what we come across is we have the maximum stresses. Okay, there will be some plane on which the stresses will be maximum. Okay, so we call those stresses as principal stresses. The maximum normal stress, we call them as the principal stress over here. Okay, and the plane which will be carrying these maximum stresses, we call them as the principal planes. Okay, so let us try to determine what are the principal stresses and the orientation of the principal planes. Okay, so what are the maximum stresses and what is the inclination of those planes on which these stresses are acting.